come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubble.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, where I am broadcasting from an actual free state. No longer behind enemy lines in occupied California, always spelled with a K. And please note, what you're about to hear for the next hour or so consists of my opinion and that of my guests. I'm not an expert. I only play one on TV. So come on into the saloon, one and all. Relax, converse, where we are still serving stiff drinks, facts, history, logic, rationality, proportion, context, tradition, intent, and common sense. And remember, we don't water our drinks, just like we don't water our conversation. We talk about it all: politics, religion, crime, culture, race, sex, economics, science, law. Everything is discussed right here in the saloon where the booze is. Well, no, the speech, you almost caught me there. It's the speech that's free, but the booze is not. As I've said for quite some time, I am done with bipartisanship and compromise. I've been labeled a terrorist, an extremist, a white supremacist, just because I love God. I love my country. I believe in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the rule of law. I believe in malum in se versus malum prohibitum. And I guess that makes me a terrorist. And if it does make me a terrorist, then so be it. Because if we lose freedom around here in the United States, where do other people go for true, actual freedom? That's a good question. So we have a great show tonight, and it's going to be another panel, kind of like, well, the one that I had last. Shoot, let's put a background in here, just on account of because I didn't have one last time. There, let's put that background in there. It's not confusing, and it's soothing. Namaste, little one. Namaste. Anyway, we're going to have a panel discussion similar to what we had on last Monday after the attempted assassination of Donald John Trump, OMB, Orange Man Bad, the guy with the dead orange cat on his head. And we had a great set of panelists, and we have a returning set of very similar, identical panelists tonight, two of which are here, and other two will be returning in just a bit. Tonight, first, we have SHR's very own Joyzy Joe, who has his own show, The Reaver of Common Sense, right here on the SHR Media Network. And welcome to Joyzy Joe. Welcome to you, sir, tonight.
How you doing, VZ? Thank you for having me on.
It's always a pleasure. And then we have Jack Alexander, Australia's own from Down Under, where where's my manners? If I only had a producer. Come on. Here it is. Now, if I had a producer, what you would have heard is this. Hello, Jack.
Tonight's topics aren't going to discuss themselves. So it's tomorrow's news today with Australia's Jack Alexander here in the Berserk Bobcat Saloon.
And Joe, if you continue being a guest, just beware, I might have to make an intro for you too. So let that be a threat to you, just like it was a threat to Jack.
Lord help me.
I know. I wonder what it would be. I'd have to. You don't want to ask.
I don't know who the guy does with the accent on that.
I have
his accent's worse than mine.
I was told he was Australian.
No, he probably is.
Shoot, you guys. Anyway, we're going to discuss Biden's gone, basically. He drops out. Now what?
Bye, Biden. Bye.
And that's the gig for the show tonight. Now, as I indicate, we do have Jersey Joe and we have Jack Alexander. And returning once he gets his food down his belly, get him out of belly.
Eat now, taste it later, Sean.
We'll have Sackhead Sean in. He had to wait a full hour. I mean, jeez, this is really kind of silly. He had to wait an hour for food from, I think he said, Uber Eats, because I first mistakenly thought that it was Grubhub. And I understand that he's in a situation where it's a lot more convenient for him to get his food delivered. But Joe or Jack, have you ever had to wait for Uber Eats or Grubhub, or do you customarily order for that stuff through that stuff? I don't. And so
I'll have to say I'm guilty, especially when my wife and daughter go up to the in-laws up in the Poconos and I'm staying home alone. I
can't even get it in my area.
I don't like going out and dealing with people.
You can't get where you are in Victoria. I'm not
too far out of the city.
Oh, how far are you? Like 10 miles? 5 miles?
The cutoff, the closest Uber Eats to me is probably 10 mile away.
Oh, okay. Anyway, now that it's become the Uber Eats show, so thanks for watching, folks. We're done with Uber Eats. Say goodnight to Jersey Joe. Say goodnight to Jack. And then coming in also at
I'll be waiting for our paycheck from the sponsor.
I know, it's true. The bottom of the hour, along with Sackhead Sean returning in about 20 minutes or so, will also be the gentleman that we had on last Monday, Earl Jackson. He is from Tejas. And he will be back. He's limited to about an hour, but I honestly don't see this thing going over more than about an hour and a half or so. Mostly what I'd like to do is discuss the political ramifications of what has happened. Now, some crazy stuff has popped off about the Secret Service and the Secret Service director, Kim Cheadle, who was rightly so grilled today by the congressional hearing. And I think, let's see, I think I have some of that here in audio. Let's see if I do. Oh, wait, you know what? I might have it up here. Let me try something else. See, I can play audio from my laptop, which is over on the left, but I can, let me play this first. Kamala Harris appears to be the anointed one, and we'll probably be going back and forth regarding this, but
yeah, she's so popular.
Oh, ever, like certainly true. Here's someone. Did I load this? Yeah. Where's? Oh, darn! I didn't load it, but I can play this. Let me see if I can play this.
Today is a day in which we all collectively, come together and decide to make it the day that it can be. Today is the day to continue to do the things that we have done and that we continue to do and that we will do in all of our future todays. Am I right? I want you.
What the fuck did she just say? She's babbling worse than Joe.
I'm sorry. I couldn't.
That would have made more sense with her on her knees with something in her mouth.
I couldn't resist playing that. but we'll get back. Oh, let me see. Like I said, let me see if I have some of the other things here through Facebook. What I'd like to do is talk about Biden stepping down at 1:46 p.m. Eastern. Today. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell everybody. Today is July the 22nd, the year of our Lord 2024. And that will tell you so. And this is the topic for tonight. And I am going to turn the phone lines open after we get into this thing a little bit. And so if you're interested in calling after we get the discussion rolling, you can call 916-835-3329, 916-835-3329, but that'll be just a little later. And like I say, these are the folks we have tonight for discussion: Sean Lewis, Earl Jackson, Jersey Joe, and Jack Alexander. And we have Jersey Joe
again
and Jack Alexander already in here. And while I'm waiting for Sean and Earl, let's see. Oh, this is great. Let's play this.
Thank you, Chairman. Director.
Okay, set up. Now, I can't play the video. This is in the House Oversight Committee. This is Representative Byron Donalds, who is a cool cat. This guy can slice with a knife. He's out of Florida, and it's he who is questioning Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle. All of these are great, and everything she receives, she is due.
Real quick, at what time was Secret Service aware of the active threat against President Trump? Director, what time?
So the Secret Service was aware that there was an individual who had been identified as suspicious, and that individual was attempting to be tracked down.
At what time?
I don't have a specific timeline other than to tell
Director,
you.
it's been 9 days.
Okay, let me stop you here just for a second. And one of these people, I have two more videos to play. One of these people has already given essentially a set of questions to the director saying that these are the topics with which we wish to discuss. It's this, various talking points, various bullet points, and facts. We want to know facts. She was given the bulk of these questions beforehand, and this is what we get.
No.
At what time?
I want to make sure that I give you factual information, sir.
Director, have you talked to the agents on the ground that day?
Yes, I have.
You've talked to all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Your senior team has talked to every agent that was on the ground that day.
Yes, we have.
Have they all corroborated the same time they identified the shooter, or they were made aware of the shooter either by attendees in the crowd or local police department?
There are a number of reports of when those times were made.
Was it 5 minutes before the first shot rang out?
No.
Generally speaking, was it 10 minutes before the first shot rang out?
No.
Was it 15 minutes before the first shot rang out?
It was less than that time frame when it was identified as a threat.
How many days before the shooting took place?
Okay, stop right there.
They knew an hour before.
Yes. So in front of Congress, already, like Brennan, she has lied before Congress. Let's continue.
Is the Secret Service actually do their advance work to secure the facility that the rally was going to be held at?
5 days.
In the 5 days prior, when the security advance team did their work, okay,
stop just for a second, both of you guys. Jack, Jersey Joe, if you're part of the Secret Service setup team, why do you only have 5 days to do it? Now, she's going to complain about, personnel, we're down personnel. And we found something extremely revelatory. I may go into this. I don't have an overlay for it, so I can't address it unless I show it to you guys. But there was something extremely revelatory that we found out today through Josh Hawley. Now, why should we have to find out this stuff through Josh Hawley? I can only categorize her as arrogant and supreme.
Well, I don't even know if arrogant's the right word at this point, PC, and I don't mean to cut you off.
No, that's
the
why
Republicans have not held any of these officials. They have not held them responsible for anything. They hold these hearings, they ask questions, they don't get answers, and what do? They tuck their tail between their legs, and then they go on to the next issue. They never hold them to the standard of the law. And they allow them to get away with it. So why answer the question? You know you're going to get away with it. If you answer the question, you're going to get in trouble. Let me just not answer it.
And not only that, if these were skilled teams, 5 days should have been more than enough to do the planning. I mean, it was not a complex layout. It was a couple of buildings that needed securing, a water tower, and a few roofs.
Like I said,
5
it's
days,
not
that should have
downtown
been
New York.
In 5 days, that should have been tighter than Fort Knox to get into. If they were really sort of messing around with that. A gnat on a fleece foreskin should not have been able to sneak into that venue with 5 days of preparation. There's something just way off on this.
The hearing today, and I got a video I'd like to play for you, and it makes me really sick to say this. AOC made a great question and a great point.
My God.
Yeah, I got to wash my mouth out with soap after saying that, but here's the video. Let me pop it up for you.
Sure.
And she makes a very solid argument.
Well,
and I got the transcript.
Oddly enough, this was a bipartisanship commission. Okay, we're up. Hit it.
You established earlier that the building upon which the shooter operated from was outside of that established perimeter, correct, for the Butler, Pennsylvania event?
It was outside the perimeter, yes.
Now, that building was, I believe, 500. How far away was that building from the president?
It was approximately 200 yards.
200 yards. Now, the individual used an AR-15 in order to act out his assassination attempt. An AR-15 has a range of about 400 to 600 yards. My question is, why does the Secret Service perimeter, why is the Secret Service protective perimeter shorter than one of the most popular semi-automatic weapons in the United States?
There are a number of weapons out there with a number of ranges. Again, an advance was completed. The determination of the perimeter, I'm not going to speak to specifics, but there are a number of factors that are taken into account when we determine our perimeter. Some of it has to do with terrain, some of it has to do with buildings, some of it has to do with assets and resources that are available.
And so what I'm hearing is that a perimeter was not established outdoors in an outdoor venue that would prevent an AR-15, which is one of the most common weapons used in mass shootings, from being able to be within.
Okay, that's wrong. But
yeah, I'm not happy about that one statement.
Yeah,
but overall, she's correct. One of the most common rifles out there for people has a 400 to 500 yard range, and they set up a 125 yard perimeter.
Yeah, as I said on the last time, when I was part of a detail that worked with Secret Service in Australia when Condoleezza Rice came to present medals during the Commonwealth Games here in Melbourne. If it was in range of a 50 cal, they had it locked down.
Yeah.
And I mean, we don't even have most in Australia. You can't access a lot of the. You're sort of limited to 5-shot bolt action rifles. Admittedly, they're going to be to still 223, 308. But I mean, if here for not even someone that's the president, but a member of the cabinet, and they're locking down an area in a country that doesn't have guns, to the level that you can't get anyone close with a 50 cal. The fact that they cut this close off, within a couple of 100 yards of the stage, and that being capable on any capable, possible by any capable shooter to make that shot with iron sights at that range. I mean, I don't want to go down the conspiracy theory path, but my God, do they make it easy?
Well, and that's the problem with all of this is if you want it, just like any of this crap that involved Trump, all you have to do is tell the truth. And that cuts all of this conspiracy crap off. Yep. Then we discover that the bulk of it, the reason it wasn't cut off is because it wasn't conspiracy theories. Like I said, for a long time, I've been dragged kicking and screaming into being a tinfoil wearing cap wearing conspiracy theorist until most of that stuff, including Donald Trump talking about surveillance at the Trump Tower, was true from the very beginning, and all of these assholes lied about it. Let's continue with
95% of the conspiracies that have been out over the last 8 years have come to be true.
Sure.
There's a difference actually between a conspiracy and a conspiracy theory. There is a difference, and I'm looking it up. I can't remember the two ways of the difference of the definition, but there's actually a difference in definitions.
Yes, there is. Let's continue with Byron Donalds.
Identify the rooftop as a potential threat.
Again, I'm pulling those reports and that information.
It's been 9 days, Madam Director. Did they notice a rooftop?
Okay, how can you come here knowing full well that you're going to have these questions asked of you? This is dismissive. This is disrespectful.
This is contempt.
It is. It is contemptible of all of these people here. Bipartisan. Jamie Raskin asked a lot of pointed questions as well. And you can't tell me that somewhere along the line, someone has promised her, you'll keep, well, I believe Mayorkas and Dan Bongino said, Mayorkas told her, shut up.
Your job's on the line.
And she was told by Mayorkas, well, she's not going to breeze through this, but if you just put these people off, you'll keep your job. And that's how she's so arrogant and dismissive and disrespectful. I think she knows her job. She's got it. I don't have to answer to anybody except one guy. One guy. I don't answer to you clowns in Congress. I answer to one guy. That is it.
Top 150 yards away. That was a potential threat. Yes or no?
I am certain that the rooftop was noticed. I am pulling the reports.
What was the security parameters around securing that rooftop? What did they do?
There was Overwatch provided for that rooftop.
Did Overwatch?
I am waiting to hear what the results of the investigation were so that I can identify where the failure was.
Who did you talk to that was on the ground that day that was responsible for Overwatch? What are their names?
I'm not going to provide their names in this setting.
Did you talk to the people that were providing Overwatch that day?
I've talked to the people that conducted the advance on that day and that were working the shift and were the counter snipers on that day.
So you talked to the counter sniper team. You talked to the people who were providing Overwatch that day, and you talked to the advance team, correct?
Yes, sir.
What did they tell you?
We are putting together a comprehensive report so that I can identify exactly where the gaps and the failures.
When the counter sniper team was on the roof and they identified that there was suspicious activity on the roof in question, what was the chain of command's orders around the person on said roof? Because I'm quite sure somebody saw in under your organization, the Secret Service, I'm quite sure somebody saw the shooter on the roof. So what was the communication through the chain of command to deal with said person?
What I can tell you is that when the individual was identified by the counter sniper, they took one shot and neutralized that individual.
But that was after the shooter already took a shot. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes. So what you're saying now is that the Secret Service did not see the shooter on the roof until after the shooter took a shot?
I do not have all of those details at this time.
If you don't have those details after 9 days, Director, then what you're telling me is that you guys didn't see it. Is that correct?
I am telling you I don't have all the details of the sequence at this time.
Director,
obfuscate, 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 and I believe outright lying. Not just to Congress here, but everybody in the United States. We all know what would have happened had the roles been reversed. What if someone had taken a shot and missed Biden? Would she still have her job today, Jack?
In so much as she'd be answering questions in this committee, yes. But shortly after that, no, she'd be 86th.
Joe?
She would have been, if she didn't answer and it was a Democrat, she'd have been fired. She probably would have been prosecuted immediately, indicted, arrested.
Now, here's some. Now, if you show contempt in a criminal proceeding, the judge locks you up. Why can't they do that with these people? She's obviously being deliberately contemptuous. Why can't they go in and have the president or the chairman of the committee go, right, you are showing pure contempt for this. Sergeant at arms, take her away and lock her up. Now, bring in the next person in the chain of command. You answer these questions. You do not answer these questions, you're going to join your boss.
Democrats would cry foul on it, and Republicans don't have the balls.
Yeah,
I hate to say I'm a Republican, and that's one of the biggest bitches I have.
I don't disagree the fastest with way at all.
The fastest way to get these questions answered is to start dragging these people off.
Yeah, well, I agree.
And going to the next. I guarantee you, it would only take 1 or 2 people carted off and arrested for contempt, and the third person in that queue is going to spill their guts.
We just had recently a perfect example where the House was voting on to hold Mayorkas in contempt and to send the sergeant of arms to arrest him. And what happened? 4 idiots got weak.
We had Tom McClintock, who used to be my Congress critter in Placer County in California, always spelled it with a K. And he went sideways on that crap. That's just insane.
The Democrats might get mad at us.
Well, it is unprecedented to do something like that. But Democrats don't mind setting precedent when it benefits them in a positive fashion. Sackhead Sean is here, and I want to finish this, and then we'll go to Biden stepping down.
It's been 9 days. Either you have the information or you do not. Is that correct?
We are still in the process of conducting interviews and an investigation.
Some of my colleagues have texted me over the last couple days, bipartisan, about whether you should lose your job. And I've been quiet on that question because I wanted to see what you were going to do today. In my opinion, you do need to be fired immediately. And it is because this is gross incompetence. And the fact that it's been 9 days, and these are simple questions to answer. I'm quite sure if I asked any one of my kids if they got in trouble and I told them to give me the details, I would get more answers from them than I'm getting from you right now.
I would ask if she could have 2 + 2. Can you answer that question?
On a nonpartisan basis. This is a joke. And Director, you're in charge. And that's why you need to go. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Chair now recognize Mr. Goldman. Okay, we're going to stop that right here. I'm in the process of saving an image so I can put it up here. And this is what I was talking about before the show. And let me see if I can put this up. It'll take me a moment or two to get this in. In any event, welcome back to Sackhead Sean. Good to see you here, sir.
You're on mute.
How are you?
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
No, I know.
There.
I've done this a couple times.
Well, you were talking and nothing was coming through. So
Betcha.
I've done it. God knows how many times on my show. Had the mute on.
Had to adjust my slider. That's all.
Okay. I don't want to talk about this tonight, but I found this absolutely disgusting. Maybe this is a topic for another day when we come back. Are you guys aware of this? Read this. This is from Josh Hawley. He said now, whistleblowers have told him that law enforcement personnel were in fact stationed to the roof the day of the Trump rally, but abandoned it, citing the heat. They also said law enforcement were supposed to be patrolling the building, but opted to stay inside. You always want to think the best of people, but when you have revelations like that,
well,
they like Uvalde leave me absolutely gobsmacked.
But when half the I don't know the exact numbers, but from what I'm reading, it's most of the members of the Secret Service weren't even Secret Service because they got yanked to Jill's team, and it was Department of Homeland Security team and the local police. So few, those guys, and I'm not trying to knock Homeland Security, I'm not, but they have a different training for a different objective. This isn't their gig. And you're going to put them in there, and then the two radios aren't even anywhere connected. There's no connection between the two at all.
Well, that doesn't shock me. The feds don't like to play with others. That's the problem there. There are reports coming out that they didn't even have a regular representative inside the Secret Service Command Center from local LEOs. I think it was something like 22 Secret Service officers on site. There was, I want to say, another 35 or 40 from HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, and then the rest were state troopers, and then 7 locals. And I talked about it this week, and I know we mentioned it last week. Communications at these things are always horrible. That's always been a thing. The feds do not like other people to play with their stuff. And
it's true.
It's been going on for years. The bullshit was supposed to end after 9/11. When we learned how much
information, no communication between the 3 different organizations. No communication.
Yeah. So the state and the locals were, and I think Homeland were all on the same network, if you will.
Yep.
Yeah. Whereas Secret Service is separate. Look, I understand why you need separate channels. Anyone who's worked any of these incidents, we talked about it last week, you got to have separate channels, but you got to have a unified command center. And that's the one thing that I don't understand. Like I said, there are reports floating around now that Secret Service was in one of the mobile command centers and then everybody else was in the other. I don't know how true that is, but that's one of the things that you're hearing now. Unfortunately, we're to the point where I don't doubt anything anymore. And that's a problem we're at with a lot of other things in this country too, where shit gets out there. And, it used to be 5 years ago, you'd be like, well, let's wait. Even 10 years ago, let's wait on that before now it's like, no, shit makes sense. When I see a whistleblower saying, hey, there was no cops on that roof because it was too hot, I don't even understand how that's possible. First of all, if you're just going up there for his speech is going to be what, an hour max, probably less with the heat. So you're up there 10 minutes before because you're just making sure there's nobody on that roof. So as long as you're up there 10 minutes before, your job is done. you know, and you're up there for the duration of the speech, and then when he gets off, once he's in that command vehicle, you have no reason to be up there anymore, right? So that I don't understand that. It's a laziness, it's a lack of supervision, it's a lack
And
of
it's not like
planning.
there's equipment that they couldn't have used to keep someone cool up there. I mean, I've been on details where they've given us ice vests because of the heat.
Yeah, you can have a tent up there, and I agree with you, Jack, wholeheartedly. That right? They do usually plan. I said before, you could have had a security guard up there in a pair of flip flops with a friggin' tent and a cooler filled with beer, and this entire situation changes.
Yeah.
Well, you had another sniper.
Let's face it, a bunch of first week Flight C cadets could have done a better job at this.
Yeah.
We could have done a better job.
Hey?
The four of us could have done a better job. By the way, welcome to Earl Jackson for stepping in from Mission Ready Men. Earl Jackson, welcome to you, sir. Thank you for being here tonight. Let me ask Sean, Jack, Earl, Jersey Joe, and probably Jack too. You mentioned, Sean, 9/11. You know, people were not communicating to each other. So what happened following 9/11? Anybody remember NIMS SEMS? We all got sent to federal classes from federal money to attend NIMS SEMS and figure out
ICS 100.
I was going to say,
things.
Don't forget the incident command systems.
Well, NIMS is the National Incident Management System, and SEMS is the standardized, let me see if I get this right, standardized emergency management system. And what we discovered is the feds whose program this is couldn't even fucking spell NIMS SEMS. And if they're not abiding by NIMS SEMS, where all that grant money got pissed away, apparently, and the feds learned nothing from their programs, and they're the teachers of all of this. How did this crap happen, Bueller?
Well, it goes it's simple. It goes back to NIMS, right? So, and for people that don't know, NIMS, SIMS, and the ICS is 100, 700. There's a whole bunch of different ones. It essentially says, hey, this is how you operate in an emergent situation with other agencies. This is how the communication will be done. This is how, who will be in charge of this, who will be in charge of that. Jack is providing us with his certificate. But one of the things that also changed post 9/11.
Okay. Let me cover
and get your
identifiers.
Get your high school diploma. And nope, you're uncovering your name.
Oops.
That's okay. There we go.
You're like
okay, perfect. Now we are absolutely nothing but stealth here. So Jesus Christ.
Ninja.
But and post 9/11, the other thing that we learned is that all the different agencies, especially the alphabet agencies, were not sharing information with each other. That was supposed to be fixed. And so when you get into a situation like we had with the assassination, where it's 2024, we're 13 years, almost 14 years. I'm sorry, 12, almost 13 out of 9/11, right? This stuff
we're 23 years.
23 years. Oh my God, my math was way off. 01.
Boston math?
Good. No, it's just old age, and alcohol. But you have to look at how little we've clearly learned over that time. You still have federal agencies saying, hey, I'm dad, you're going to do what I say. You're still going to have state agencies who say, hey, locals, I'm kind of dad, yada, yada, yada. It does become a dick measuring contest when you come to these events. And that's a problem. And the fact that nobody said, I don't give a damn that you didn't put on sunscreen. I need somebody on that roof right now is a humongous question that needs to be answered. Why is that even a thing?
It shouldn't be a thing. I'm going to end with this, and we're going to go on to why we're here tonight. Biden, what the hell? The end is this. DHS, Department of Homeland Security, was created by President George Bush solely for one thing: to make sure shit like this didn't happen again, and that everyone is playing nicely in the sandbox and they can all communicate with each other.
Yes.
So that's it. We're done with that. So
well, real quick, it was also the first director was
can't imagine how
ex-governor of New Jersey, and their headquarters was actually about a half mile from my first aid squad where we were based out of. So yeah, there was a lot of information to flow through there.
So
all right,
let's go to the original question. At 1:46 p.m. Eastern, July 21st, yesterday, Biden stepped down as Democrat presidential nominee. And yet, so what he does is he's got a letter that he sends in.
We just got a letter.
Not a broadcast, not a video, but a letter. Not one word about killing soldiers, killing Americans with drugs, killing Americans with crime. Not a word about killing the economy. No apologies, no regrets about lying to the American people.
I call bullshit on the letter.
4 years. That's all we got.
Okay. Well, first of all, if the letter is legitimate, then whoever wrote it was smart enough to think that it's Biden and he doesn't know how to send an email or make a video, so he wrote it by letter on a typewriter. They at least hid that well. That's all I'm saying is that was like, it's like how BZ has to operate, right? It has to be archaic. There's a lot of clicking involved. He probably had a whiteout that they'd occasionally go through.
Get it correct. I communicate in grunts and clicks.
How do you know BZ's been on a computer? There's whiteout on the screen.
Yeah. Well,
fucking
no. I'll tell you how you know BZ's been. You know how you know BZ's been on the computer, because I have to fucking fix it. So no, but so you go back to the letter, right? We'll talk about authenticity in a minute. I know everyone wants to get there. What a piss poor way to present that to the American people.
That's right.
And there's a lot of tells. There's tells in that. It was not on the Biden-Harris campaign stationery. It is not on the presidential seal.
Yeah.
It is just him, which nowhere in that letter does he mention Kamala either. So that after the fact endorsement shows you what he really thinks of her. That was intentional. That was intentional, because this letter is getting the news and the endorsements after the fact. Couple different things. I see a lot of people doing handwriting comparisons.
Yeah. The underline
right now. Yeah. Well, just the whole signature's off.
Yeah. But he's never. Sorry. Go ahead, Earl.
The whole thing is just
a
crock, because I've seen those handwriting comparisons too, and they're all the same, similar if not the same. And then this one is completely off the rails. This one was an obvious forgery. Now I know that they'll probably say something about he's older now and his signature's changed, but the last one we just saw was from an executive order, I think in March. So it hasn't changed that much. So something is definitely up.
Yeah, well, and I know they're going to say that he's sick, so he might be weakened a little bit. And I look, him coming off that plane, you could tell, like, obviously we all knew he was in decline. This isn't a question. It's not like that was not this one. Actually, BZ, the real video of him stepping off the plane in Delaware is worse.
Oh yes,
watching him come down those stairs,
worse.
And then he couldn't get into the SUV. He couldn't pull his leg in. Secret Service had to help him in. It was bad. It was really bad.
Yeah. Well, what they've decided now is that by dint of, Barack Hussein Obama, here's the other thing. Okay, you're going to tell me that he's too enfeebled and incompetent to be nominated, as Robert Hur said, we can't prosecute him and we can't go there because he's an old guy and he'd play well in front of a jury. So I'm not interested in prosecution. So if he's too incompetent to be nominated, but he's okay to can keep and continue as president with his little wrinkled finger, which is even more wrinkled than mine, on the nuclear button.
Well,
That's bullshit.
Yeah, I said that from the beginning when that whole letter came out. If he wasn't competent enough to stand trial for that, then how is he competent enough to run the country? And he's obviously
well, he's not.
Okay,
right.
Let me add this. Let me add this just for a second. Jack just put this in.
Yeah.
Okay, Jack, can you tell me which one is which? Which one is earlier and which one is later?
I believe the one on the left is the early one, and the one on the right is the one off that letter.
Okay.
Now, I'm no handwriting expert, but even I can see the difference.
Yeah, so you're right. The one that's underlined is the problematic one.
Yep.
The one that everyone is legitimately questioning.
So the big problem, the big issue becomes, why is he even in there? With one caveat, what I consider to be one very important caveat, and I want each one of you to weigh in on this. I don't believe, and then what's your opinion on this? The Republicans should not go the 25th Amendment, because that would be doing the job of the Democrats. And then the Democrats would say, look,
They're
guys who pulled out poor Joe, it was the Republicans who did that. Some are talking about the 25th.
There's more than that. There's more than why
we
we
away from that.
There's a lot more reason why we shouldn't.
They don't need to do that.
One of the main reasons, and I don't know what the legality is going to go, but a lot of states have it that they can't pull their nominee unless there's death or mental incompetency. So if the Republicans yank them, but if the Republicans yank them because of the 25th Amendment, that gives them the excuse to pull them from several states. Now, they're going to get them on those states any which, or camel toe on those states any which way. But don't make it easy on them. Stop doing their job for them.
They're not going to. So you got to realize right now we're 103 days away from the election. I think it is, right? You're about to have really no attack ads on Trump for the next 4 weeks. You're going to have some. There are going to be some PACs that put them out, but you're not going to have a candidate specific attack ad on Trump because they don't.
You haven't watched TV today, have you?
Well, but they're not. It's not Kamala Harris like it was Biden, right?
No, there is a shitload of Kamala Harris commercials out there already running for president.
Well, it's funny.
I think there's like 4 or 5. I know, and that's the thing. It's like 4 or 5 different videos.
But my point is, until they're a nominee, they're still fighting with each other, right? So they're not moving progress as a campaign towards Trump. Individually, they're going to throw some barbs out, but right now it's, hey, look at me, I'm this person, look how wonderful I am, and why you want to vote for me in the next primary, which is what this is going to be. It's going to be a primary. They can call it whatever they want. It's just a mini primary that the Democrats bought essentially by not giving money, forcing Joe out, and now they're, as soon as she got $81 million as soon as Joe dropped out,
in 24 hours.
So yeah, in 24 hours. Okay, so it went up and up and up.
I call bullshit on that too. Small donations.
Well, no, they were just sitting there waiting. Once again, it tells you what they knew was coming. They were just sitting there.
No, they're claiming it's all like $5, $1 donations.
Oh yeah, no,
up to that bullshit.
I'm sure it is. It's just all the same person's account sending it 5,000 times.
Yeah, I was talking about the war chest that's already there. I wasn't talking about those.
Yeah, the war chest.
I think that's a load of crap. That's a load of crap.
Did you hear the FEC commissioner came out and talked about that?
No, I'm curious.
He came out and said that they already been informed that the Democrats are just going to switch the money over and they'll take the penalties for whatever the FEC gives them later. They don't care. They're just going to do what they want.
Of course. Why not? I want to play something for you guys. This is typical. I found this, and it's more insanity, but it's worth laughing at. At this point, we need something to laugh at. Here's a guy named Auden Cabello?
Common spelling.
He dropped out!
Oh, God.
He dropped out!
This guy, by the way, for the listeners, is sitting in the front of his car slapping himself in the face.
Yeah, there he is. He's slapping himself in the face, and he's knocking his head, and he's got black fingernails. Perfect.
Joe Biden, please!
And no tears.
No, that's why you know it's fake.
Yeah.
This is just how you know how well-rounded they are.
Gen Z, we need to band together. Please. He was for Gen Z's first president.
He has no idea what the fuck a Gen Z is.
Yeah. Well, I always get called boomer now.
He's got underwear older than a Gen Zer.
I got hemorrhoids with more seniority than that, dude.
That's gross. All the emotional look, Harry Sisson, all these other social media people, they all got their marching orders. You'll notice, and this is how I kind of thought something was weird. The left on social media was quiet all morning long. Really quiet. They were doing the regular mainstream media stuff, but the usual posters, the Harry Sisson, the JoJo from Jersey there, all the leftists that are on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, none of them said shit that whole morning, other than the occasional canned, anti-Trump bullshit. Not even that. It was anti-Trump stuff. There was nothing about Biden. And that's why I was like, that's kind of weird. That's really weird, especially because everybody said it was coming. And then it happened. Right. So the other weird thing, too, is Elon Musk got on Twitter, was like, yeah, I knew this 4 days ago.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing. She's not the strongest candidate. Everybody knows that. But you can rest assured that all the leftist white women's and all the black women's will coalesce around her as the one-trick pony, hot and cold running abortions. What is this? This is Barack Hussein Obama getting his way, shoving the old dude aside. His usefulness, I should say, is done. Nancy Pelosi wants an open convention. Now, I think she endorsed Biden today. If I'm
Hold on, we're running way ahead of how he was forced out. That's the other thing too, is there's a lot of rumors coming out of DC that it wasn't just like he was forced out, almost what I'm hearing, blackmail, that his real medical past was about to be released if he didn't sign the paperwork. And a couple of other things too. So that's why you had Pelosi making these calls. That's why you had Schumer making these calls, Hakeem Jeffries, all these people who were once his friends, who, by the way, my favorite thing in the world is up until 2 weeks ago, this guy's on it. He's fucking dialed. He's the most engaging president. He has the most
doing cartwheels,
blah, 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 blah. And in a span of 2 weeks, it's like, well, he's in a really bad way.
Okay,
and
wait, I've got an audio cut for you.
Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden is the best Biden ever.
She knows so long as she was 9.
In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been.
President Biden has a photographic memory. His understanding and mastery of a complicated geopolitical situation, remarkable.
He is sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented and focused.
Jackie, where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here.
I was sitting,
Jackie was dead, by the way.
2 feet from him across the table, and he was, intense.
And he was at the funeral.
Walking sometimes, yeah, so did FDR. He wanted GD war.
But he's totally focused. He's very sharp. They say he's sharp in meetings and so on.
Very lucid, very well informed. Biden is stately, and he comes with gravitas. There hasn't been, as far as I know, a single claim that Biden made a mistake. Ageism is an issue. Americans have a rich history of holding people's physical characteristics against them. Okay, you can ask.
Yeah, you just have to look at my tapes against BZ.
That doesn't mean that he is unfit, and there's a lot of ageism there.
Now, this age attack, this
obsession by the right. Joe Biden may not be able to speak for himself the way that he used to.
They want to think to take on government if we get out of line, which they're talking again about, and him how he around.
I think people should be speaking up for Joe Biden.
Americans and reporters in the media are just judging him by a physical appearance, and it's horribly unfair. Age is an asset.
He showed exactly how with it he is.
The flip side of this coin is that he has a tremendous amount of wisdom and experience.
Okay, so it goes on and on and on and on and on, just like that. And then magically, mystically, one bad debate.
Well, and a lot of people, there's a lot of rumors that I'm seeing too coming out of DC that debate was intentional. They knew he wouldn't make the election. They saw the numbers on the wall. They knew Trump was going to carry it, and they needed to get rid of him. And they threw him out there, kind of a sink or swim moment. Sabotage definitely on the mind of, all right, well, now we'll just have America force him out. And they got what they wanted because the fundraising stopped almost immediately.
They did it this early for that exact reason.
Yep.
So that they would have time to do their maneuvering and get somebody else in there. And I'm not even convinced that it's going to be Kamala, but I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Well, oh gosh, yes, are we going to talk about that? Okay, there's Earl. I think you mentioned there's $90 million in the Biden campaign account, and Bill and Hillary Clinton just endorsed Cammie the Cackler. So let's do some maneuvering a little bit. So if Cammie chooses Big Mike, where's my overlay? If Cammie chooses Big Mike as running mate, the Democrats have the black female and trans female aspects covered, and Obama can access all that cash. So who's running crap? I think everybody here knows who is.
I think when you talk about the black vote going for Kamala, I don't think that's happening. Everything that I'm seeing on Twitter, and I know it's not a 100%, but I'm seeing a lot of women and a lot of black folks that are going, no, she put away black people and laughed about it. She held them in prison past their prison term for free labor and laughed at it. She was a predator to the poor black community in San Francisco as the prosecutor and was putting them away. Were they breaking the law? Yes, but she was going tooth and nail after them.
Well, and it was it was also out of balance with other races. That's the other thing too, and not the arrest portion of it, the conviction portion and the amount of sentencing was grossly out of proportion. Because let's face it, most of the guys getting hooked for marijuana in San Francisco were probably guys that were working in the tech industry with a ton of money who donated to her campaign. That's just a guess. I'm just throwing it out there.
And the women, a lot of them are saying because she is Kamala's backing trans into women's sports. A lot of them are going, I can't back that. I've seen a lot going. I saw feminists out there going, I hate Trump, but this woman wants men in women's sports. I can't back that. I'm going to back Trump. He's a misogynistic, but you know what? I can deal with that. I can't deal with someone that's trying to destroy my own gender.
Okay, let me throw this into the mix, folks.
They're also hitting her and not being a biological mother. I've seen a lot of that on social media too, is the fact that she's never actually had a child. And when I say biological mother, I mean she only has stepchildren. She's never had kids of her own from birth. And that's something that I've seen a few people mention too. And from the left, it's not our side, it's the left.
And the affair?
I found, I'm sorry, go ahead, Earl.
No, I'm just actually kind of surprised at that.
I am too.
Yeah, I was saying the affair is getting brought up a lot with what Willie Brown.
Willie Brown.
That's getting thrown out in there. Well, you can't talk about that.
Nickname.
Wait a minute.
They're bringing up Montel Williams too.
Yep.
I've been seeing
Hey,
that.
God, yes.
Hey, well, you know what the left says? Sex work is real work.
I found an article, and it's funny that you guys brought this up. I was just cruising around as some of you others were speaking. Here's an article from Newsweek. I'm shocked. Kamala Harris suffers polling blow among black women. Okay. That's today. Oh, wait, no, that's July 18th. That's 4 days ago.
I'll tell you exactly why. And being the black guy in the room, I probably have better insight on this than anybody else. But
okay, I'm going to read the article first, and then black guy, you can chime in.
No, I'm going to say the head of the article.
Yeah. Kamala Harris has the same approval rating among black women as President Biden, according to a new poll. Comes as a surprise as black women have been pivotal for securing Harris her spot on the ticket. The poll was conducted by Split Ticket between July 12th and 14th. It asked black voters in battleground states of Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin about their opinions on Harris, as well as Biden and Trump. Okay, first black man, go ahead.
Okay, so here's the thing. A lot of actual women of African descent, black females in this country, whatever you want to call it, do not look at her as being black. They know she's at best mixed race, Jamaican and Indian, which she articulated by herself several times early on.
And believe Earl me, nod.
What does Earl have to do with this? I'm the one talking. No, but but you know, a lot of people cultural appropriation. Remember when we went through that in this country like 3-4 years ago? You couldn't culturally appropriate anything. Well, she is, because she's claiming to be something she's not. And the other thing is, she's worse than Hillary with fake accents. She turns on whichever accent she wants to pull out at every single, wherever she is. All of a sudden she has a Southern accent, then she has a ghetto accent. You know, it's ridiculous, right? And then the whole fallout
of code switching for sure.
She is James Bond on steroids. She's so good at changing who she is in disguises. So I'll tell you right now that you absolutely know that everybody, what that really sells is how fake she is. I think that's what it comes down to. People see through the facade. They see through her bullshit. And look, you look at any of her speeches, and if there's a coherent thought for more than 45 seconds, I will absolutely eat my shoe, right? Because she can't. She starts repeating herself as soon as she gets onto something, right? Unburdened by what has been. She'll say that 5 times in one damn interview, right? She'll say it over and over again. And here's what it is her staff writer went, hey, this is really good. Try to slip it in. And in her mind, she's like, okay, I'll say that 28 times, right? So, you know, the coconut tree story, the fact that she stole the story that she tells about being a kid and using the word freedom with her mother, she stole that from Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
And everybody knows she stole that. It was plagiarism. It was direct plagiarism. It wasn't even altered. It was almost word for word out of his memoirs.
What were her numbers back when she was running for president back in 2020?
I don't know how many people she slept with.
No, her numbers.
Not enough, apparently.
She was less than 1%.
And what were her youth numbers? Her the black.
I don't think when it's that low they keep track of it.
But my point is, she didn't excite the base back then. She ain't exciting it now.
She didn't excite anyone except for William Montel.
Well, maybe Joe Biden too.
No, he didn't care. He hates her. Yeah, they hate each other. They do not like each other. They absolutely do not like each other. Because she called him racist on stage. As we know, DEI has been in the news this whole week. We all know why Kamala got picked. It wasn't because she was an amazing senator and attorney general. They needed to have somebody on the ticket who was dark complexion and a female. How do we know this? Because Joe Biden said he's going to pick a black female. He said it like 5 times.
Same with his Supreme Court pick.
Yes. Same with Ketanji Brown.
Yeah.
And it's going off the topic a little bit. Me and my wife were talking about this, and it bugs the shit out of me. As Gen X, it was jammed down our throats our whole life. Color does not fucking matter. Do not look at color. Don't mention color. Color does not matter. And now we just got it jammed down our throats. Well, color, we got to pick this person because they got a twat. We got to pick this person because they're brown. We got to pick this person because they're pink and got a twat and think they're a guy.
We were told it was funny, and I'm not kidding. Good, Earl.
I was going to say.
Yeah, I was nearly going to put that one up.
I blame Obama because in the 90s and early 2000s, we were past this. We were not completely. We were mostly passed this. It was a non-issue across the board. And he came in and just threw a hand grenade into all of it. And now we're seeing the results of that.
Well,
you know what solved, I think, a lot of race relations. A lot of people are going to laugh at this, but in the 70s and the 80s, it was a running joke. No race was safe from Saturday Night Live, stand-up comics, or anything like that. And the jokes were made repeatedly, and it didn't matter who they came from, who they went to. They were just funny.
George Carlin, Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, Archie
but I
Bunker,
think what
all in the family.
I think what people took out of that as a whole is, yeah, you know what? This isn't that serious. We're all the same people, so let's just have fun with it. And it became a non-stigma after a while. You just didn't think about it. Like I said, growing up for us, it was funny. You know, I had friends of every walk of life.
Today, or trying to make Blazing Saddles today.
How many times have we watched Blazing Saddles?
Oh my goodness!
Never once sober, but that's not the point. But
I'm not going to quote the.
Oh yeah, no, you can't quote anything on here. Are you kidding me? We'll get shut down. But then you get into like Earl brought up. You get into Obama. What changed race relations in this country, where it became on the focal point again? Trayvon Martin. Why? Because two things happened during the Trayvon Martin thing. And NBC edited the 911 tape to make it sound horrible, and Obama weighed in early and said, if I had a son, he would look like Trayvon Martin. Exactly. What does that tell to people? And remember, George Zimmerman.
Don't forget the Cambridge police thing too, though.
Well, I was going to get to that.
Summit.
Yep. Remember, George Zimmerman was portrayed as a white man right up to the trial when they finally admitted that he was half Hispanic.
Oh no!
Yeah, and then you get to Professor Gates, who was in a house after somebody called 911 without ID, and then when he got confronted, became combative. And then we had the beer summit, right? So then you keep going, right? We had Michael Brown, Freddie Gates in Baltimore, all the way through George Floyd, right? What's killed me is, and everybody knew this for the most part, is they were only picking the quote unquote sexy stories to cover, which we know how media is. We know they were pushing it, but it was so obvious, and whenever you called them out on it, you were called a racist or anything else.
Oh, sure. Mosby lost every case in Baltimore, lost them all.
Yep.
I still love how, and it's a personal thing, I get called all the time, I'm a skinhead and a racist.
You clearly are a skinhead.
Yeah. Well, back when I had my hair shaved too. But
Earl, you've been called a black racist for years.
Well, I married into a Jewish family.
But that's right. Joe did marry into a Jewish family. I forgot about that. That adds
my
to
wife's
the
family's
skinhead
Jewish,
story.
and it's like when I bounce bars. Oh, you are a white neo-Nazi. No, I'm not. My wife's family's Jewish. You're a racist. Yeah, I did EMS volunteer out of Trenton, next town over from Trenton, New Jersey. We'd go into the projects all the time. It didn't matter what race you were. I saved your ass. And it didn't matter what you did. Gangbangers, I made sure I saved your ass. I took a murderer out of Trenton State Prison, not a murderer. He raped a 12 and 14-year-old and carried his fat ass down 3 flights of stairs. Didn't matter. I don't look at
what you did.
And even in life, I don't look at that. You treat me good. One of my best friends here down the street, Puerto Rican, and jokes fly back and forth because I have him doing my lawn all the time. He don't care. He don't care. He's an ex-New York City cop. The jokes go back and forth.
I'll tell you a story. When Earl and I first started working together, we were in the projects that was predominantly black. And I don't remember which call. I can remember where it was. I don't remember why it was. And as we both got out of the car to go up to the call, the young black male who had called or was the problem, I think he was the problem, looked at the two of us. And for those who don't know, he's sitting down. Earl's enormous. And I'm not. I was tiny back then too. I was thin as hell back then. And the kid looked at me, looked at Earl, looked back at me, and he went, "Oh, I'm better off with Earl," because he thought maybe he might get a little bit of the friendship discount. And he walked right up to Earl, and Earl goes, "Dude," and he dropped the bomb right away. And Earl goes, dude, you do not want to talk to me. Go talk to him. And I remember the kid turned and looked at me, and I was just sitting there smiling, just like that. And you could just see the whole everything drop out of the kid's body. But yeah, no, so yeah, you go through the Obama years, and that's really what got race to be an issue. And again, in this country, when it wasn't, like Earl pointed out, right? And you now have them using that formula that they used for race, that they use for everything else that they want to push with the media. Trans rights, drugs, whatever it is, you could pick it, and that's what they do. They absolutely exploit it horrifically, and they get everybody outraged. I think they're losing the narrative when it comes to Kamala.
They're the threat to democracy. Clay Travis put out this tweet. Democrats tried to put Donald Trump in prison for the rest of his life, and now they're picking a new candidate for president who's never received a single vote for president in their life. They're the true threats to democracy. Stephen Miller, Democrats canceled democracy. They threw out an entire primary and used donor extortion to do so, like a third world state. Then this, Democrats, the DNC, super PACs, they blew through $250 million behind Joe Vegetable. And he didn't even make it, ironically enough, to Labor Day. His legacy is worst president ever, destroyed America's strength and economy, nothing but a vegetable puppet.
Third time dropping out.
Obama pulled out of the presidential race, and
3 times.
Responsible, I think, is the biggest political scandal in American history. And this chick lied about it all completely.
What does she know, and when does she know it?
Exactly. Then she's
always maybe it was today, that was tomorrow, that's today is tomorrow, and tomorrow's today.
Well,
yeah,
and you got to remember, we have a meeting every week. We have lunch every single week. That's what they told us. They have lunch every single week together.
So she knows exactly what's going on, right?
Well, I mean, in theory, it's Kamala. I mean, look, of all the people on this planet that you legitimately could have an argument that they maybe didn't notice, it would be her. Like, she's the only one that I legitimately be like, no, actually, I could see her not even picking up on that. Just because it's her. I mean, you look at some of the dingbat things that she has said throughout her entire career.
Wish I had some lined up.
Oh no, don't even do the laugh. Like, that is the most annoying thing. She's that person who laughs at her own joke before she tells the joke, and it's never funny. Never. She hasn't said one comical thing ever. Yeah, 100%. She's
not intentionally comical anyway.
Exactly. She's not a funny person. Somebody told her if she smiled and laughed when she got into politics that it would take her a long way. And that's only because Willie wanted to hook up with her. Did he tell her that? It absolutely does not apply in the real world, but you also look at all these other people. Look, that doctor, somebody needs to get to that doctor and subpoena him at some point, because he keeps signing off on him, right? Never mind Jill. We all know why Jill was in the bag, because they were making millions off of him being in public office, vice president and president, and she loves the power of being the first lady, right? So you understand. I know, it's awesome. You understand why a few people would have hidden it, but everybody else, and I guarantee you, the way they found out that he was dropping out of the campaign on X, a lot of his staffers, that's how they found out.
Yeah.
You have a lot of pissed off people that are eventually going to start talking.
When that letter came out, I called bullshit immediately, because that did not look anything official at all. None of the major news agencies had even touched it yet. How does a sitting president announce on Twitter, and I'm not knocking Twitter, Freudian slip.
Wow. Tell us how you really feel.
I know. I'm not knocking Twitter. I like it. I like what it's become. Doesn't mean I put 100% faith in Elon Musk. I don't put any faith in any of these idiots. But you don't go on Twitter. No video, no audio, no nothing.
Oh, yeah. No, how that whole thing came out is scary, and the simple fact
didn't
is,
know.
Right? If he's under the weather, and they all they had to do legitimately was Sunday when he decided was say, hey, we're going to schedule. He's going to do an address to the nation on Wednesday night. We all would have known what it was, but it would have been official when you saw him and he could talk. Right? They're hiding behind. Yesterday, he couldn't come to it was yesterday, right? What's today? Monday.
Yeah.
He couldn't come to a video camera. He couldn't Zoom. He couldn't do anything from Rehoboth Beach.
Oh, he was recovering. Come on.
But today he can call into Kamala's event and wish her well.
Sure.
Did you hear her little flub?
Oh yeah, the recording.
I knew you'd still be on the call.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like one of the things I try not to do is look. Yeah,
Wait,
but I
did
try
she
not to
say
look
that?
at it.
Recording.
She
She
said
didn't get it all
record. She said rec. It sounded like she was going to say recording. I try not to jump on every little thing like that. That's the only thing that bothers me with X is there are so many, like, anytime there's a glitch in the Matrix, people are like, holy shit, the aliens are running us, right?
But if it was just that, yeah.
Yeah,
but you have a failed attempted assassination. An announcement that, hang on,
that's different.
But this is my thinking for why I kind of am questioning some stuff. Failed assassination attempt. They announced that Iran was threatening to kill Trump. Crowdsource, internet, everything crashes.
CrowdStrike.
And out of nowhere, well, not out of nowhere, but you know what I mean. Biden resigns and Kamala's crowned. I know I mispronounced her name, and MSNBC says that's racist.
No, who cares? Yeah, I know.
But it's just all of it together paints a picture that makes me go.
I get that. I'm not arguing that. It's just when it comes to Kamala, I cannot have her mix up a word and have that sound the alarm to me because she mixes up thoughts.
I agree 100%, but just the whole
words are lucky. You're lucky if you only get words with her. I mean, she's just terrible, and that's
the queen of the word salad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And look, end of the line is at some point it's going to come out who made the decision, and we know what it is. It's the fundraising that did it, but who finally decided? We got wind online Thursday that Kamala's people in D.C. while he was still in Las Vegas went to Biden's people and said, hey, you need to get him to step down. He's making a mess for us. We're not going to have any time if he can't get over the line. And that's what sparked it all. Or the final
and the day
push,
before, we had this. The precise day before. This is how insistent he was.
An hour before, his staff was sending out tweets saying that he was going to be returning to the campaign trail. I think they said in 4 days.
Just a couple days. Yep. Just a couple days.
They didn't know. I don't think they knew it was coming.
I don't think so either. I don't think anyone knew except for the inner sanctum.
Well, I wonder even if Biden knew, like we've joked around.
No, I don't think Biden knew what was coming. I mean, it screams of the assassination of Julius Caesar. What's going on?
Yeah, but I don't. At least Julius Caesar knew what state he was in. I don't think Biden knows where he is half the time. I really don't. I think Jill knew it was coming. I don't think Biden knew it was coming. Have you ever dealt with somebody with dementia legitimately? There are days that they think they're 100% dialed. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't think he is. Look, we were talking about this. No, you're not. You're like 2 steps under Joe, pal. We've been talking about this since he started to run, that his cognitive issues were obvious back then. He's been in 3.5 years of decline. As he gets older, it's going to get worse quicker. Look at BZ. And that's exactly what's happening, is that it's getting worse quicker, and it's out of control of medicine. And look, everyone has to remember that Parkinson's specialist was there, 9 times unexplained?
Back in January, that they refuted that he wasn't there.
Right. Yeah, that guy wasn't there for him. You know how many military officials work in the White House? Okay, are they getting doctor's appointments in the middle of the White House? The only person who lives at the White House that you'd get a doctor's appointment there for is the fucking president. That was the most ridiculous thing. I doubt anybody has ever walked through the office or the White House, if you will, to find a 2-star general with his pants around his ankles with some doctor grabbing his nuts and telling him to cough. That's probably never happened. So don't tell me the doctor's there for Parkinson's for one of the military officials. The other thing that everyone's not ignoring, but forgetting, Kevin McCarthy about a month ago was being interviewed, and he talked about how going to see Biden was weird. This is before he dropped out. This is before the debate. How Jill was in there almost every time, and he's retold the story since, but this story came out before the debate. How Jill was in there every single time, which he thought was very strange. You had he was always like trying to give people jelly beans, like an old, all I can think of is the woman from Christmas Vacation, right? Are you still dating Clark? That's all I could think of. And he has a small private office outside the Oval Office where he liked to work and hang up his coat. He's the president of the United States, and apparently was very proud of and brought prominent people, including guests from other countries, to look at this office he had built outside of the Oval Office, like just outside, and he would work from there somewhere. Now I understand it's because Joe was doing the work in the Oval Office, but the reality of the situation is these are not
Joe's
normal, well-behaved, or mentally well activities.
You're such a doubter. Just because I have a coffee cup and a cot in a room outside the Oval, boy, that was Freudian. The Oval Office.
It was only the Oval Office when Clinton was there.
Not a thing. Hey, Alan Thomas in chat made something that I think is worthy of a couple of lines of discussion, and that's it. Joe Biden calling in to the Kamala Harris campaign. Alan said, "Hey, was that AI?"
Oh, yeah, that speculation's been running like crazy, and it could have been. I mean, it could have been. It also could have been very scripted and pre-recorded, which if her slip earlier was, I knew you were still on the recording, as Joe brought up, would make sense, right? How many times, and you have to ask anytime there's a recording of him or something with him where he's not live 100%, you have to ask how many takes it took to get that right. He the amount of lucidity in that man is like, I don't know, the amount of health in me. It's very low, very, very low. And so, yeah, I mean, the whole thing could have been AI. There's no doubt about that. We've already had plenty of AIs of him. I mean, I don't know if you've seen some of these amazing memes and videos that have been going around, but there's one of them. It's Biden and Trump at the debate, only they've like mixed in some Japanese singing, and that's all they're doing the whole time, and it's the absolute funniest friggin' thing, and it shouldn't even be that funny. But if you look at the video, you're like, it looks like they're really singing. Like there's enough AI editing into it where they made their mouths and their hand movements match the song. So who knows if it's AI at this point? We don't know shit.
Folks,
that's what I'm 100% sure of.
Are open. If you're interested in calling in, if you're in the chat room, if you're listening live, call 916-835-3329, 916-835-3329. It's down at the bottom. Call 916-835-3329. The phone line is open. If you are interested, please do so. So we're talking tonight about Kamala Harris. Oh, by the way, I forgot this. Women of the United Snakes of America. Remember that under Kamala Harris's watch as border czar, she allowed and abetted thousands of women who were sexually assaulted by illegal aliens. And then thousands of women are going to be forever traumatized because Kamala and the Democrats refuse to protect women. Just a slight notation from me.
Rape is up in New York City 11%.
Can't imagine why that would be. Could anyone?
And it's directly correlated to the amount of immigrants that are being held there, illegal immigrants. So, yeah. But this is why people don't like her. I mean, you go back to her electability, and I'm sure you probably want to move on to who else is waiting in the wings, but you go back to her electability, and I do not see her, and I will say this now, and I'm probably about 85% on this speculation is I think the Democrats have already conceded the White House as a loss. I think they're going to spend all their money on. Oh no. They know. You have 103 days. You have 103 days to try to get somebody to be able to join the momentum of the guy who just got shot and got up, who, by the way, is polling unbelievably with minorities in this country and higher with women in a poll that came out this week than earlier expected. I think they've conceded the White House. I truly do.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. Yeah. Do not be assumptive. Do not think that we've got it in the bag. I hate people that use red wave, red tsunami.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying they're
up. No, I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying you are.
No, I understand that.
There are some people that have. No, I know that.
There was a Democrat that came out today that said that this whole thing was about saving the House.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's. That's all the switching up was about.
The House.
Well, yeah, gaining the House, but they know they're losing the Senate and White House. And I'm not saying red wave. I agree with you. I'm not saying that either. But I believe that the Democrats know that the winds are blowing right now, that the Senate is going to switch over and the White House is going to switch over.
Barack Hussein Obama runs the Democrat Party right now. His pressure via Hollywood, the American media magas, other Democrats, they managed to push out an absolutely incompetent vegetable. Okay, who was an incompetent vegetable 4 years ago? They knew all along, and they called us stupid for noticing until the Democrat donors noticed. Then they had to toss this plug tampon dude. Obama has not endorsed Cammie the Cackler. In the wings, this is what I want to throw this up for you guys. Who is this? Is that a factor? I gotta ask you, is that a factor?
No. And I'll tell you exactly why. If Michelle, first of all, she's already come out and said she's not getting involved in this. She doesn't want to be attached to the L. This is going to be I don't care who you're putting in there right now on the Democrats. They have such an uphill battle to make up space against Trump. And I know you don't like talking about that, but we're talking politics, so I have to be honest about it, right? The simple fact of the matter is whoever it is so far behind the 8 ball, it's not even funny, which is why I think they're going to sacrifice Kamala just to get rid of her for down the road. She'll take this loss and be done. We gave you a shot. You didn't make it. Have a nice day.
Bingo.
I think Michelle wants. I think Michelle wants the fanfare. I think she wants to be able to announce. I think she wants all of it to be her and Barack's control. I don't think that she wants to share any spotlight or come in late and take a loss.
Okay, so are you talking 2028?
Probably. Go ahead, Earl.
I think there's some merit to that, but I know she said she doesn't want to do it and all this other stuff, but I have just become so jaded. I don't trust anything, and it would not surprise me at all if Big Mike did throw his hat in the ring. The contested convention, even before that, on August 7th, if they have the roll call vote and all the delegates pledge to her, then I'll concede that. But until then, it would not surprise me at all if Big Mike jumped in. Only because I know that the left is so obsessed with power and control. And even though a lot of people, I know Sean and a lot of other people have said that they conceded the White House and they're using Kamala Ding Dong as a sacrificial lamb, and I get that. But I think that they're so obsessed with power and control that if they see a sliver of opportunity to get it and hold on to it,
they're all in.
I think they'll take it. And so until it's over, I don't count Big Mike out.
Hey, BC, let me jump in real quick.
Sure.
With not Oprah, holy shit, Michelle. She said to me times,
I'm Richie Cunningham, and this is my wife, Oprah.
She is too much in love with the power that she has in Hollywood. She thinks that's more powerful. She has more control. She said she hates the politics, and it's just easier for her to get stuff done in Hollywood. There's more money thrown around. So that's why I don't see her stepping in. My guess.
Actually, sorry,
my guess.
I have a theory as well.
My guess is Butt Plug is going to be the vice president nominee. But like Sean said, they're behind an 8 ball. You got what, a week or two before an actual confirmation of a nominee. I don't see
If
that.
they do the roll call vote on August 7th, yeah.
Yeah. It's not going to go as simple and easy as they think. There's going to be some people throwing their hat in and trying to throw some wrenches in there. And then now they got to catch up on the campaign where Trump's, and it's not because I think Trump, he has the advantage right now. He's way in front of him.
He's nominated.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly. Now the Democrats are going to be tied up in legal battles during this whole election. Can she be put on these states? There's too many variables. Again, no red wave. I don't believe in that either, because I think when you do that red wave, blue wave shit, it's disenfranchise. No, it takes people where, there's going to be a red wave. I don't have to go out and vote. I don't need to get off my lazy ass and go do it.
That's exactly it. They think that it's already in the bag.
Right. But saying that, what we're saying is different.
My point. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. What me and Sean are saying is different.
I know Jack wants to respond. I just want to rebut to Joe for 1 second, or add on to something that Joe said. As far as Michelle and the Obamas, look, who's running the White House right now? And the Democratic Party. Right. So if you already have all that power, why would you sacrifice the potential of it by taking a loss in a presidential election? Whereas you're still going to have all the power of the Democrats. And if you gain the House or the Senate, you still wield the same power because nothing's going to get done in Congress. That's my point. Sorry, Jack.
No, that's all right. I'm just sort of running around the options in my head. I know that the Clintons have both come out and supposedly thrown their hat behind Kamala. But, part of me is... Sorry?
That would scare me.
Yeah. Part of me is sort of thinking, okay, let's throw our hat behind until it's obvious she is going to screw this up, that it's not succeeding, and then at the convention have Hillary throw a hand up and say, hey, at least I've got brand recognition.
No.
And try and steal it that way.
And I'm not trying to be a jerk, but the only reason I say no is because the new Democrats hate Hillary. They use her, they shout her out and use her when they have to talk to old white women. But other than that, Hillary Clinton, I think she's done. Plus, I'll tell you right now, I don't think her legacy at all, and she's an egomaniac who worries more about her name than she does and herself, which is why 57 people have died. I don't think she can't take the Trump loss a second time.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I actually don't think it. I think whoever they put forward is going to be a sacrificial lamb, regardless of the name. And throwing Hillary into the mix to finally put the last nail in the coffin and get the Clintons right out of the picture would allow a lot more of this, the younger Democrats to sort of start advancing. I don't know. They just to me at the moment, the Democrat Party is like a pond of ferocious piranhas that haven't eaten for a week. They're going to eat anyone that dips their toe in the water.
I want to throw a hypothetical out. I want to throw a hypothetical out real quick.
Okay.
Just a hypothetical. And I threw this at Sean yesterday, I think. Just for the sake of argument. Camel toe wins. How pissed is Hillary Clinton?
Oh, gosh.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. No.
Are you talking about winning the presidency?
Yeah, just a hypothetical. She wins.
Just throwing it out there. I love this theory.
I would see, President Harris unalives herself after having a discussion with Hillary Clinton.
Yeah. You thought Dark Brandon was scary? Wait till you see Dark
Pills,
Hillary.
not guns. I'm telling you, everybody here in law enforcement and the military knows it's pills, not guns.
Not
Period.
guns, yep.
End of statement. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
And it's a joke. I don't want anybody. Oh, they're talking about assassinating. No. We're throwing a joke out there about.
We're
Hillary.
not talking about it. We're talking about Hillary. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Well, I want to clarify so we don't get tagged.
I know. Look, but we're not saying anything from our side. We're just saying that there's evidence in the past that the Clintons have been involved with 50-something separate murders of people who've died very strange. Right. People have died in very strange, mysterious ways that had personal connections to the Clintons. No other family outside of the mafia has had that many close friends accidentally expire in weird ways. So I'm just saying that's never happened before. So sue me if I don't think that the Clintons are trustworthy individuals.
Let's
never
talk
mind
next
Epstein and Haiti.
About the convention. I think the convention is going to be really unique. Let's not forget a similar thing. And I was around for this. Hell, I was around for the wheel. Okay. I recommended cutting a few things off. It was way too square for me. But let's not
go ahead.
forget
Go ahead and get out ahead of that. Get out ahead of me. Just
I know.
See
And
what you can do, old man.
Okay. Abacus.
Yep. No, that's
Let's
fine.
not forget 1968, when then President Lyndon Johnson said, I will not seek and I'm not going to accept the nomination of my party for another term as president. He'd had it up to here with Vietnam. And so I see another 1968 Democrat convention occurring in Chicago. It's going to be an open convention because not everybody, like you said, Sean, not everybody is sold yet on Cammie the Cackler. So the 68 Democrat convention was August 26th to the 29th. And it was set on fire by riots outside the convention. And there was a ton of chaos inside. And so what that resulted in was the nomination of Hubert Humphrey. And everybody
nailed it.
Who?
Nailed
What?
it.
I don't get it. Who was this guy who lost to Richard Nixon? By the way, remember 68, the Summer of Love, and two other things critically important.
Who got assassinated?
MLK was assassinated in April of 1968. And
no one else.
RFK was assassinated on June 5th. RFK was supposed to be the Democrat nominee for president in 1968. MLK is gone, RFK is gone, and the Democrat convention is August 26th. I'm sorry.
Point of order.
Point of order. Go ahead.
Overruled.
I just want to say I would like to think that before 1980 you can still call them Democrats. I want to make that specific designation there. After 1980 you can call them Democrats. But I think back then they were at least semi-reasonable human beings for the most part.
Okay. You want to hear something sad and tragic?
Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're going to want to hear this. Okay. Look at me now. Look at my visage. I'm a long-haired, fat, reprobate somnambulist, long beard. This was me in the 60s, and I've gone back to me. I lived in San Francisco, and I also walked streets for Hubert Humphrey. I handed out flyers.
Are you saying you're a streetwalker?
You fucking beatnik.
I know.
You fucking beatnik.
And
this is what happens when you allow hippies into the world.
You know what changed me? Ronald Reagan.
Drugs.
And okay, I'll tell you the truth. I'll tell you the truth about drugs. I tried dope. Of course I did. Everybody did in the 60s.
Especially in San Francisco.
Mom smoked like a furnace. You couldn't open any windows in the house. And in the winter, when we went to go see Grandma, which was a good toot away, she'd smoke like a chimney inside the car, and you couldn't open up the windows. I despise smoking. That's why I didn't do dope.
Same here,
tried it.
bitch.
I've tried.
I just got nothing. I got nothing here. I got nothing for you.
So we let's talk about the convention, because you look at how many similarities there to 68 as there is now. You already have 5 or 6 groups that saying they're going to show up and protest and shut it down.
Sure.
You have the Palestinian groups that are doing it. You have the it's the usual players, right? The Save the Whales, this Peace Corps people. All the lunatics are going to show up to this convention because they're pissed because Biden was a puppet who can be pushed around, and they don't know who they're going to get. So you're already going to have chaos outside like you did in 68. 68 also inside was chaos, and I don't think it's going to be any different this time around.
I don't believe so either. So at the August 19th convention, also in Chicago, you're going to see reps of Hamas and Gaza and Palestinians and Jewish hatred guaranteed. That's one reason that Kamala Harris and the Democrats are not going to pick Jewish Governor Josh Shapiro of Pennsylvania. He ain't going to be chosen because Jew.
Right.
I didn't even think about that.
My question
It'll be someone from the alphabet group.
Yeah, but they're holding it all virtual, aren't they? The one on August, the beginning of August is supposed to be virtual?
Yeah, August 7th is virtual.
And even the other convention, they were talking about doing that virtual because of the threat of violence. So they were going to hold it.
If they do this virtually, after they just literally undercut Biden, right? So money aside, you think about how many people voted for Biden in the primary and the super delegates, and all the delegates that are already in place, right? You turn around, and a lot of Democrats, even though they wanted him gone, still feel that he was undercut the way it happened. You now tune that into this open primary, and you do it on Zoom where people can't even be there to address their issues. They tell us all the time democracy is on the ballot, and it 100% is, but it's the Democrats who are destroying it because this is not the first time. Go back to the Bernie thing, right? They undercut Bernie for Hillary, something fierce. Their donors pick, and I don't care, you can come at me however you want. And actually, Dave Portnoy for Barstool put out a great video about this today. But it's true. The donors pick who the candidate is. The voters don't, despite what the voters think. You look into the history, and I am not wrong.
Wait, where is it? Where is it?
That's what's going on with the Democrats right now. But if you look at, again, the Republican Party was backing, all the big donors were backing Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley. They didn't want Trump. By the grace of God, the people were able to overpower it twice now. But if the powers to be had their way, it would be Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis.
Okay, yeah, but that's the difference between us.
There's a huge difference between us and the Democrats.
Right.
Exactly.
But no, because I've gotten that on Twitter. Like, well, yeah, we got overrun, but that happens in the Republican Party. No, because they don't want Trump.
Don't you
remember? They didn't want Trump
remember
last time either.
Yeah.
The reason they went with Biden, the vegetable, is because Bernie Sanders staunchly was Bernie Sanders. He has never changed. He refused to change, and he was going to cut off the flow of money to the DNC and anyone else. He wanted limits on cash, on donations, and that is the mother's milk of Democrat success. Bernie Sanders had to fucking go. And he went.
How many houses does he have now? How many mansions does he have now?
Yeah. 4.
I was up to 4 now.
Yeah, he's up to 4.
What sort of an impression is it, or image is he going to put forward if they don't hold a physical convention? Especially after the assassination attempt on Trump, the message that would be sending. Jesus. I mean, Secret Service, that sort of be sent around. Or not only, not even we want to risk our lives to the Secret Service.
Well, everything that I've read, it's the optics. They're afraid of the optics of the violence outside.
Yes.
They're not afraid anything's going to happen to them inside. It's the optics and the news coverage of look at these protests against XYZ candidate.
The Democrats have always bust in that.
Not this, because it's going to be against them.
Well, because this is one of those times, Jack, that they have to flip-flop and seem like they have integrity. So they can't have it right now. Look, the day after the convention ends, yes, go back to riot and looting, boys. Go for it. But for those 4 days, they have to put up the image that they understand law and order and public safety. And it's all bullshit. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Well, just order the banks not to cash any George Soros checks during the convention. That'll stop the riots.
I hadn't thought about that. Sean, I hadn't thought about that at all, and I think that's an excellent idea. Now, the reality of that occurring, not sure, but just like you said, oh my God, heads are going to explode.
Oh yeah.
When the protesters hit the streets, and they will, and let's say, and it won't be planned. It won't be a week before. It won't be 3 days before. It'll be the day of or the day before, and notices will go out, and all the little tents of the leftists have already been set up, and corners stacked with bricks.
A week before, they're going to announce there's too much of a threat.
Oh my God.
I guarantee a week before they're going to announce a very specific threat from overseas at the DNC, and that's how they're going to get out of it. If that happens, that's exactly what they're going to do. I don't know if they're going to be able to pull that off because, look, I said this last week. The Democrat Party's in turmoil right now.
Yeah.
They're in total disarray. There's so much infighting. And wait till people decide they're a better candidate than Kamala, and that fighting starts. It hasn't come out yet, but it's going to very soon.
Manchin?
One of Beezy's hemorrhoids is a better candidate than Kamala.
Yeah, 100%. But that's not how you got to realize how dumb they are. You're giving a lot of credit to thought. They don't do that. So first of all, Biden drops out. I want to see RFK and Jill Stein's numbers because I think they're going to get a bump from Biden dropping.
Oh yeah.
And so you look at those. And then you look at Manchin. Now, Joe Manchin was talking about that no labels group for a long time. He's also already come out and said, hey, I may switch back to the Democrat Party. Joe Manchin's pissed. People don't realize that. Joe Manchin's a pissed off human being because the Democrats in his mind railroaded him the last 2 years. And I have a feeling that he has absolutely zero issue with tucking it up their ass and telling them to go spin because
like I said to you, he's doing that just so he can shit in their punch bowl.
Yeah,
100%, 100%. But you also look at if he does that, how that hurts whoever the Democrat nominee. It won't hurt Biden. It's not going to hurt Trump. None of these people are going to hurt Trump's numbers, right? Because Trump supporters are Trump supporters, conservatives are Trump supporters, and
Trump's
any independents
10% over Camille. Not to cut you off, Sean.
I know
polls are polls, but
it's delicious though. It's just so decadent to see the numbers in a poll because it's just that is going to be what honestly hurts the Democrats. We were talking earlier about the red wave talk hurting Trump, and but the other thing that's going to hurt Democrats is if these polls keep where they are now, and granted it just started, so they're going to need some time.
Right.
Plus, a lot of these polls are not recent. You only have one or two that's recent with that 10-point spread. A lot of the if Biden doesn't run, who would you pick against Trump was a hypothetical for many people up until Sunday. So they weren't answering that with any serious thought. It's just like, oh, Kamala, oh, this, oh, that. So those numbers are not legit, in my opinion. You have to get polling this week that's really going to start showing where things are. And I think 10 points is probably a reasonable number. She's so dislikable. I mean, she's just not likable as a human being. And I think everyone knows how fake she is.
I said it earlier, and I'm amazed how many people I've seen on Twitter going, oh, we're Biden fans, but no, we're not going to back Kamala. There's too many negatives about her. And they'll list, and it's not just one thing. And I mean, they're listing after, and this and this and this. Trump's the better candidate.
This is what she embraces.
What's the biggest thing in America that people are worried about voting wise? What is the biggest issue in America? It's the border. Who was the border czar? Kamala.
Exactly. We went to the border. You didn't go to the border.
No, you
I didn't go to Europe either.
Europe either, right? Exactly. But
I
they
don't
know
understand
that
your
about her.
question.
They know that about her.
Yeah.
She was the border czar. The border is shown to be the most important policy up for voting in this election, and she absolutely was the worst on it. That was the albatross around Biden's neck that he had to overcome more than anything else, was the border, and he wasn't the border czar. He could hide behind that. She can't.
Or Cammie the Cackler, she's going to be all for packing the Supreme Court, hot and cold running abortions, making D.C. a state so they can get 2 free leftist senators right off the bat. Like you said, Sean, open borders. Czar, who did nothing. National rent control. By the way, that's a new issue just recently. Crushing American sovereignty and strength. Never met a terrorist that she didn't love. And also, remember this from 2020, never met a rioter. She didn't.
Yep, that she didn't want to bail out. But you have to ask yourself this: what do most candidates do when you get into an election cycle? They come back towards the middle a little bit because they're trying to get those independents and the old dogs. Kamala has no middle to come back to because she's been so extreme. So now if she comes back, look, Biden has always been middle left when he had to have been through as a senator and everything else. She has no center to return to. When if she was in the House, she would have been a squad member. Everybody knows that, right? So she has nothing to deflect and shade her from that. She doesn't have Joe there to save her from that. She has to stand on all of these policies that his administration ran and all of her beliefs from before. I don't see how she does it.
Oh, that's so sad. Don't you realize and recognize, Sean, all of her accomplishments, her wide and varied accomplishments? I want to talk about one final thing because we've been on for about almost our full 2 hours. We still got a little bit more time. I want to wrap it up with this. Who do you think? We got Andy Beshear, Kentucky, Pete Buttigieg, Secretary of Transportation. You're a little boy. Your mommy will be back for you. Roy Cooper, North Carolina. These are governors mostly. Mark Kelly, rabid anti-Second Amendment guy. Wes Moore. Oh, look, the only black dude that happens to be in there, and it's not a black female. Amazing. J.B. Pritzker, piece of shit from Illinois. Josh Shapiro, Jew, won't be picked. Tim Walz, Minnesota governor, and Gretchen Whitmer, who I think recently
said she's out.
She say she's not interested.
I think she's going to be the campaign chair.
Okay.
Yes,
I read that. I read that somewhere. But I think it's either going to be butt plug or Mark Kelly.
Okay.
All right, so I'm not going to use the name butt plug just because.
You got to understand. I was using that way before I even knew the guy was gay. It's just that his last name, it looks so much like saying butt plug.
So I do think it's going to be either Buttigieg. I don't think it'll be Mark Kelly because what are the Democrats worried about? Senate and House. If they absolutely pick Mark Kelly, they're now down a spot in the Senate. So I don't think it's going to be the Senate. And I think Kelly still has 3 years. So his seat would go up for election in a state that's leaning red right now. Arizona has been one of those states has come back hard the other way. I think it's going to be Pritzker. I think that's going to be her VP. Now, the only other thing that might happen,
Pritzker, Jesus. Well, if you're going to be a loser, be a big loser.
Well, and that's the thing. I do wrap that around my theory is that they're just kind of throwing this away right now. But the only other thing is there's a couple of variables out there of people that might actually oppose her straight up. And Pritzker actually seems like he might be one of those people to me. As doing it in Chicago, his home state. He's been very vocal and making a lot of appearances lately. And he's hungry. It's not going to be Gavin. We all know that. It can't be Gavin because the 12th Amendment, like Joe pointed out to me. So that's out.
That last fall did it in too.
Well, yeah. And I think the only other person who I'm thinking of is what's his name from Maryland. Delaware. I can't. Shit. Which one was it? the governor there that's kind of a centrist a little bit, but he's also progressive and not. And I can't think of his name right now. But
I'm
I
gobsmacked.
I think Pritzker is either going to be the choice or the only one who opposes.
Okay, so you said Maryland governor, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Roy Moore. Isn't it?
That's Wes Moore.
That is Wes Moore.
And
that is Wes Moore. I'm sorry. I thought
he
was
was in the mix right there. Yeah, Maryland governor.
There he is. There's Wes Moore. Yep. So yeah, he's the only other. I think he's the only other option. The only problem with Buttigieg is he's boring as hell, right? So there's absolutely. I mean, that guy makes mayonnaise look spicy, right? There's nothing interesting about that human being. It's true. There's nothing interesting about Pete Buttigieg. I don't care how you try to dress it up.
You've not seen the picture of him in his gimp outfit?
No, none of that is interesting.
He had a great breast milk vest.
None of that matters. None of that matters. He's not interesting, right? You can't look. We've all had that friend who you've tried to like take out and get a date, and you just like, I have no idea what I'm going to do with this guy. Like, he is so boring and uninteresting that he's like putting the room to sleep. That's Buttigieg. That's the thing he has working against him, on top of being just a failure incredibly in his current position. But they won't talk about that. They'll talk about all of his, they will talk about the fact that he's gay, blah, 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 blah. But he's so fucking boring.
He's just he could toast.
He could put tweakers to sleep.
Oh
like, just, it's sad, but it's true. He is just annoyingly boring. He's just, there's nothing interesting. There's nothing interesting.
Okay, let me go down the list here and start at the top and go down. And then I'll weigh in last. Earl, Big E, any thoughts as to who you think might be an accompaniment, if she stays, an accompaniment to Cammie the Cackler?
Yeah, I still think it's going to be. Well, I predicted that Biden was going to stay in the race the whole way, so I don't like my odds with predictions, but my feeling is that it's going to.
You're predicting that.
My feeling is that it's going to be. I think Buttigieg has a good shot, and I know that they need the Senate. That was why I didn't want Trump to pick J.D. Vance for the same reason.
Right. Yeah.
So I still think, especially with the whole anti-Second Amendment push that the left has going on, that I think Mark Kelly has a pretty decent shot as well.
Okay.
I don't know. I know Pritzker is also pretty anti-Second Amendment, but I think he's also been kind of pushing back a little bit on the current regime, and so he may be a little bit out of favor.
Well,
and Whitmer, I'm pretty sure she's the campaign chair. So
yeah.
Everyone else, I think, had no shot.
Okay, Jersey Joe, what do you think?
I'm sort of like Earl. My prediction was he wasn't dropping out.
Me too.
But I want to say Peter, but like Sean says, he's plain Jane. But he also has a shitload of baggage coming with him, with the whole train wrecks and planes going down. And there's a lot of baggage in his failure as Department of Transportation.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the senators. Well, no, but to the people, I'm saying that.
Yeah.
Whitmer, that whole kidnapping scenario.
Oh yeah,
that's gonna get slammed against her so bad.
And rightly
and her high school name. Her high school name was legitimately Stretching Gretchen. That's not even a joke.
Get out of town.
That's a whole bunch.
Well, then it would fit in with Camille.
Right. I'm not saying
double the fun, double the.
I just had dinner.
Jack Alexander, what do you think?
Look, I think it's gonna be the booty man. And I told you that yesterday.
You guys,
when we were talking, because the left is on such a DEI kick. There's no one in that list that really embraces the alphabet soup like Buttigieg does. So that's why I think it'll be him. Mark Kelly. I mean, yes. I mean, everyone on that list is very much against the Second Amendment. But I mean, Arizona, as has been pointed out, has rebounded to the right, and they can't afford to lose a seat there. I don't think any of those that are senators can really afford to give up their seats or risk losing them in elections if they're run. So, to me, Buttigieg's the only option they've really got.
Okay, Sackhead Sean, what do you think?
Well, to cover, obviously, I think Kelly's out because of the Senate seat. But the thing with Ohio is an appointed fill until the end. Arizona's not. Arizona's an elected if it's opening. So losing J.D. Vance, I think they're just going to appoint Vivek Ramaswamy, who's may end up. The only reason they wouldn't is if he's going to end up in the cabinet.
I believe the governor is going to replace Vance.
Oh yeah, no, he has to by their state law. So it's going to be that seat's going to be filled at least for the next 2 years. I think Vance has 2 or 3 years left. So I think Mark Kelly's out because they can't give up a seat. They give up a seat, they're done. And because they have to elect in Arizona, it just throws a whole monkey into that wrench. Buttigieg, like I said. Jack brought up the DEI hire. Look, I think we're seeing with corporate America, you had CNN tank their DEI group. You had all these companies that are starting to get rid of it. I think the DEI fraud's starting to go away in this country. And I don't think that I know they're not. Look, the Democrats are really good at exploiting whatever the hot button issue is, and they're out ahead of it. And they already have their DEI hire at the top of the ticket. They don't need to. The groups that they want to appeal to, they've already appealed to. So I think it's going to be Pritzker. I really do. I think that's the only weight, and I know he's like the Democrats' Chris Christie, but that's the only weighty candidate who I think could step in and actually do something for her numbers.
I see what you did there. I absolutely see what you did there.
He's going to throw his weight around.
What about someone from outside of politics, like someone in the media, say Joy Reid?
No, it's too late for that because you don't know enough about their politics. So they're so short-timed right now. They need a no name. They need somebody who brings a following with them politically.
BZ, let me ask you a quick question, and then I know I'm going to be kind of curving off here because you brought up Vic Swami. Who here actually trusts him?
I do.
I don't know enough about him, but I will say that I like what I've heard from him. Now, anything other than what he said, his background, who he is, where he comes from,
he reminds me
am at a loss. He
reminds me of an Obama,
and that is because
my gut. There's something that just telling me not to trust this guy.
You're saying that you think he's too
suave.
Slick?
Yeah, too slick.
Rico
says too much the right thing. Whatever the wind's blowing, that's what he's going to say. He just, I don't know. I just want a consensus. I could be wrong, but just there's something about him that rubs me the wrong way.
I don't know if
I've liked about 80% of what I've liked about 80% of what he said. There have been a few things that he said that have rubbed me the wrong way, but for the most part, 80% of it I've liked. In fact, I to this day I still think he should have been Trump's vice presidential pick because they are cut from essentially the same cloth.
Okay, that's interesting. BZ, what do you think?
Yeah, BZ, that's your show.
And that's a perfect reason why I should be last. The only thing I think I can, but least and fattest. Thank you. Okay, milkshakes all around. I think I agree with the governor thing because no one wants to have a seat taken. I grok that concept. But in terms of specificity, it's like, fuck me. We've all been taken on a massive ride that changes from day to day. 5 years ago, I used to think that I could predict something in politics, and especially now, the whirlwind we're on, this massive tornado. I'm not sure that I can either remember or predict what my dinner was last night, or what it's going to be tomorrow, or even if the sun will rise in the west.
Well, I mean, this last week alone has been the longest year we've had in a long time.
Oh, it's been nuts.
So prior to Obama, politics was pretty predictable.
Yeah.
I mean, not 100%, but, you could pretty much predict what was going to happen, who was going to say what. But since Obama, things have been flipped over and turned upside down.
Yeah, it's since the progressive movement showed up. Yep.
And it's a movie.
I'm sure.
Well, folks, I think this is about the time that I say it's time for Tata. We've had a great show, and I thank everyone for being here. So let me remind everyone who it is that we have spoken to and who they are. I'd like to point out Sackhead Sean.
Thank you for having me. I am actually on Twitter right now. Just look up Sackhead Sean, and I'm there.
Isn't it at 2 Against Tyranny?
It is, but if you just search Sackhead Sean, it comes up. It's such a unique name that it pops up no matter what. That's me. I'm unique and awesome.
Unique.
Pretty damn good looking too.
And Big
Best joke all night.
Okay. Did he really say that? Really?
Yeah, I did. I did. Look, let's look around this room. Really. I mean, in this room, I'm at least a 9.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's the camera focused on right now? Oh, that's Earl. Who could be that too? Who's wearing a 7 Armors shirt? What is that? Earl Jackson Big E.
7 Armors is the company that one of the companies that my wife and I have we produce T-shirts like this. Give me liberty or give me death. This is one of our biggest sellers.
That's a great one. So thank you, Big E. And then, of course, we have Joyzy Joe, who was from Jersey.
Yes.
No.
But I'm now in Florida. I escaped the communist state of New Jersey into the free state of Florida. And you can catch me every Monday and Friday on Reaver of Common Sense right here, on SHR. Other than that, hey, I got a present for you, Jack. Something I found earlier.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to hold you to what you just put up.
Uh-oh. What did he just put up? Oh, wait. Hold on.
There you go.
Wait a minute. Isn't that hair a little long for Jack?
Jack? I still got to add the photo to it and put the pertinent information, but
Yeah, Jack.
I found the green card.
Jack, you're going to need a wig. So, let's order one for Jack, shall we? And speaking of Jack, tell us about yourself as we leave for tonight. You're a broadcaster extraordinaire.
Yes. After a 2-year hiatus, I'm bringing my show back. It'll only be once a week.
Wait a minute. So, that needs a...
Friday, 2nd of August, 10 p.m. Eastern.
Ooh, nice.
Outstanding.
Nice.
Good to hear.
Congrats.
So after Joe.
I believe the first topic of conversation for that one will be, is woke leftism a bigger death cult than radical Islam?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Interesting.
All right. And do I get to ask you what your thought is, or do we have to wait?
Oh, I think you better wait and see.
Damn it, Jim.
Why would he Bigfoot himself? That's ridiculous.
Okay. Who here is drinking alcohol?
Oh, I am.
I wish I was.
But really, you could ask me that almost all day right now, and the answer would still be I am.
My hat is off to you, sir.
I still have my chocolate whiskey up here.
And with that, I'm saying goodbye to everyone.
Goodbye.
Jack
Farewell.
Alexander, good night. Jersey Joe, good night. Earl Jackson, good night.
I win.
Sean, Sackhead Sean, good night. And with that, let's see, I have to go with this. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this was a great damn show. I love panel discussions like this. I had a great time. Thanks to Sackhead Sean, to Earl Jackson, to Jersey Joe, to Jack Alexander. You're all stellar and wonderful human beings. But I do have to tell you this. Promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, Shure and Electro Voice microphones, Arrakis boards, and also Pratt & Whitney, and that. And also the Allahu Snack Bar, where there's a little bit of Mohammed in every bite. Tiaras are by My Little Pony. And thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I will be consorting in less than 10 minutes, about, maybe 50 feet that away, if you happen to be in my house, in my studio. Thanks to everybody for listening live. Thanks to everybody who was here tonight. Thanks to everybody who was in chat. I'm watching you over here on the right. Always want to see people in chat. Thanks for listening in podcast. I appreciate each and every person who takes time to be here, including my guests as well. And so God bless, take care, and be safe.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Night, everybody. Night, Mama. Night, Ben. Good night, everyone. Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children.
Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.